Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I want to get into some frequently asked questions, which means we'll go to the comment section and I'm going to grab 3 different comments from 3 different videos and we'll see what you guys are curious about. I haven't actually looked at the comment section before starting the camera, turning on the recorder, and so we're going to learn together what you guys are talking about, and let's get into it. Come over here to the comment section of my YouTube channel and I'll try and grab one from 3 different videos, but then there's always little ones that I'll respond to as well. Merlin Matrix Official, Gold Rain with those Gladius packs. Yeah, that was fun. If you didn't see this, I opened 80 Gladius cases, and I also did a Diamond League Brawl review. Had some fun with that one. Check it out. It's the most recent video. But the 80 Gladius cases, the gold foils just kept coming. That's always fun when they just don't stop. Or when legendaries happen like that, like back to back to back. It's so cool. Louis Nikisa, another sync for our precious money. They did it again, talking about frontier mode, investments and profits. This video was a video where I talked about like how much money I put into frontier mode, and I've actually, you know what, let's do a quick little update on that. We'll chat on this a little bit. Let me pull that up. I got all the data here. I got my outlays and my incomes being updated every time there's something I buy or something I sell. And I don't know if I correctly listed my data the last time we talked about this. In one of my recent videos, I talked about how much I paid on cards within the frontier mode. This is actually that data. If you can see it here, it's 138.66. But there was some notes. I made some errors on this. So this was tracking using peak monsters. I come over here and I come into my Explorer and I went into card sales. And then the problem is I was looking at people who bought from me, meaning my sales, as well as the cards I bought from others, meaning my purchases. And so that was incorrect data. Let's go back to Discord and so I showed 138.66 and I showed one sale, but then I later calculated all my sales, and I've been doing so in an ongoing basis. And here you can see my actual investments were 138.37, and actually I'll note, see these yellow lines, those were three markers or tracking points that I put in this margin, but that belonged over here. It was like, I don't remember which, but it was some of these smaller sales. And why is that important? Obviously it changes the numbers, but then the numbers are barely different because I did end up buying 17 foundation packs just for fun. And I ripped those and I got some cool cards. But either way, these are my sales and these are my actual outlay. So 138.37 is what I've bought in this game so far, and $35.17 is what I've recouped from sales so far. And I will say on this topic, the trend is obviously, like, you know, these cards are going to go down in value as they're getting printed more and more and more every single day, every single week. Having said that, there is interesting incentives that should draw us deeper in as well. So first and foremost, you know, if I think Louis Nikisa knows this about me, foundation mode is by no means like a financial, it's not a retirement plan. It's an entertainment opportunity, right? Frontier mode is joy first, entertainment first. And yes, there's some financial opportunity within the context of, like, if you rip one of these gold foils, there's still some reasonable valuations that are possible there. I'll show you show you that in a moment. But clearly I'm not recommending frontier mode, and I've said this I'm not recommending it as a, you know, FO, like a return on investment. It's entertainment first, or you shouldn't do it. But if you can enjoy the process of playing the game at that level with these cards, and I am every single day, it's not just the scratch the itch to try and see what I'll pull. It's definitely an entertainment piece. Then that's a great start toward what could incidentally be a benefit, right? A financial benefit. Entertainment first begins your journey, and then maybe you're going to pull some of those cards. Now, are there cards of valuation? Even if so, I just said the cards are going to get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So why would I want to put any money into a game that's going to give me returning assets that are going to be cheaper and cheaper and cheaper across time? First and foremost, because getting them today has a higher value than probably tomorrow. And across 6 months, that drop off may be steep. That's probably fair and good analysis. But if there's a growing number of players, that changes the conversation. And right now we've seen a growing number of players in the game of Splinterlands and in Frontier mode. But I wonder what would happen if we 10x that number of players. Would it do something to the supply and demand dynamics of these cards? I think probably. Now, does that mean these 1 cent cards are going to be sold for $1? I'm not saying that. But could these 1 cent cards in the next 6 months be worth half a penny? Yes. Or 2 pennies? Maybe. It's, there's a lot of considerations on both the supply and the demand side. And I'm convinced that demand is coming and is already logging in every single day. So that's interesting. But then also I would say there still is interesting valuations right now. Yeah, sure. There's a lot of cards. If you pull a Codex Sage, you're not selling that thing. Like, I mean, it's practically worthless. Like, it's got great value in the game though. And I'm glad I have a max Codex Sage, and I'm glad I do. And I would probably spend 20 cents on maxing out like some Hungry Ulans or stuff like that if I needed, because cards like this are quite good actually. The 2 damage with but forget about utility, because I do think there's a conversation around utility, again, entertainment, and if I'm enjoying it, then I want the functionality the cards offer. That's the utility conversation or the entertainment conversation. But the reward side, I mean, look no further than, like, you could rip one of these gold foils. You could pull a Mystic Scale Weaver and sell it right now into a high bid for $20 US. And I actually have 3 foundation packs that will rip them right now. Who knows? Like, probabilistically, we will not pull that card. But it's not beyond the realm of possibility that we get an Allen Musketeer or a Mystic Scale Weaver, or, you know what I mean? Or, yes, the Agnia Van Salamander is only a high bid of $1.20, but low buy of $28 and market trend $28. Market trend on the Guillaume Root Gold Foil $24. Market trend, market value. Did it sell for $64? This great gold foil, Great Bear Druid? I think so, based on the market trend showing that data. I think. Or maybe that just means that's a low buy. Regardless, I think we see that this one sold because the low buy is currently $27.50. The data, it gets confusing when there's not a lot of market history. Regardless, some of these products are moving for meaningful dollar valuations. And you, like anybody, can unlock these when you earn a chest. I earned a few today. Let's rip them right now, and then we'll move on to the next comment. I think is that fair? What else did he say? So he's being a little critical. Luminikis is being a little critical, but also playful. About Splinterlands finding ways for us to go deeper. I think most games that are going to maintain attention are going to find ways for their players to open new doors and, yes, invest new money, especially if there's a monetized piece of it. I'm enjoying it. It's got to be entertainment first, but there's the financial side of it as well, potentially, right? So far I'm at 138 out and 35 in. Those numbers don't add up. But if you calculate entertainment and the long time horizon of what I'm imagining. Oh, and I didn't mention there's leaderboard rewards now in the context of Frontier. So let's rip these 3 and then we'll go back and look at that, and then we'll move on. If you didn't know, there's leaderboard rewards. Let's flip them all. 1 rare, 2 rares, 3 rares, just the rares today. No gold foils. I don't know if that pushes any of my cards to a higher level. I'm still waiting on a few copies of Nim. I think this is still a 70-cent card. Is it 70 cents ish? Let's see. Go common, death, reg. Oh, it's only a 3-cent card. Okay. So I don't think any of those cards would have been particularly valuable. On the rare side, without remembering exactly which cards I had, looks like most of the rares are in the 5-cent or 2-cent range. So not particularly valuable pulls. Nevertheless, I'm going to keep them. I'm going to use them. And it's not just the regular rank rewards now, but of course there is a leaderboard. Let's have a peek at that. There's the Frontier entries as well, which I have never hit, but there's a League Rewards leaderboard. So I'm currently number 79. I went on a losing streak today. I was at number 6 yesterday, which would have been an extra 6 foundation points and 20 foundation credits or whatever. Maybe Dan Fro went for a run because I was definitely not at 3,600. You need, in order to be eligible for this, you need to have over 100 battles. And so, again, 100 battles plus high level performance means that the card assets have greater value than you might have thought. And I think this piece being introduced at that threshold of 100 battles has translated to probably today a bump up in the foundation packs. If I come over here to the market, I can tell you also that the foundation packs are selling for 68 cents, but they were yesterday closer to 50 cents. And I bet this is because someone's putting buying pressure on it to try and to get into that conversation. And again, is that a financial boon to them, or is that chasing after, you know, the joy of victory, or maybe something in between? Anyways, I like it. Lots of people like it. It's okay if Louis Nikisi doesn't. Let's move on. Okay. Leandro said, after 1900 rating, you get 1 pack per after 5 victories. It wasn't luck. And I was originally asking that question in a previous video. Thanks for dropping that comment, Leandro. I did since learn that, obviously, because I'm getting 3 every single day. Let's move to a different video. Let's make a quick comment here. I ripped 20 packs, Conclave packs recently, and I had a video ripping 20 more Conclave Arcana packs, huge pull incoming. And I did pull, I think I pulled a legendary gold foil. Yeah, I can see it in the background there. There's a legendary that I pulled, and it turned out to be a gold foil. I sold it for 50 bucks right away, recouped 50 out of 80 bucks that I spent on those packs. But I bought some potions with DEC, which was a silly move. I see a comment here from Air Force One says, you can use glint to buy potions, and of course he's right. I didn't know that at the time. It's been so long since I've had to buy potions. I actually got a comment from B Jangles, People's Guild fame, reaching out to me to make fun of me. He said, you got to use your glint. And I said, oh, of course, you're right. Of course. It's just, here's like first world problems. I'm too rich to have to remember that fact. Meaning, like, I've been playing this game for so long. I play at a high level in the game because my deck is successful. And so I unlock a lot of free potions. And so I have not had to have that conversation or think about that thing in forever. But let's go over here and let's just show it right now, and then we'll call this comment number 2. Market. Is it there? It's not other items. Shop. Okay, shop, potions. And then let's say we want to get alchemy, which is what I needed. And of course, you can pay in DC, or you can drop down into credits or glint. So of course, I've got 2,800 charges. I immediately after I saw this, and before you guys dropped that comment, to my credit, I went out and I spent 2,500 glint on those charges, which is 230,000 glint. Who cares? I've got 1.5 million or 2 million glint or whatever. So yeah, I threw the glint at it, but unfortunately I threw 20 bucks at it first. So it is what it is. Learning lessons. Learn from my mistakes, guys. You can spend glint, which is obviously easier to earn, easier to acquire, less US dollar valuation associated with it, and you can buy a lot of charges that way if you need them. And then if you're with one last note, if you're with a guild that has a high lodge, you'll get a discount on those things. So join Time and Attention. Check out the link in the description for the Discord, and then yeah, say hello. Okay, let's grab one more comment. This looks like a long one. Okay, let's talk about Runi. So I sold my Runi, and if you want to know how I did that or why I did that, if I'm bullish or bearish on Runi, you can check out this video. It's called Selling My Runi Wasn't About Hate or Price, The Real Reason. And Crypto Beaver 5949 dropped in a comment, and he says, I'm too attached to my Runi to part with it. See an icon on the left to witness the attachment level firsthand. That's him right there. He's got the cool red background. I like that. And he's got that pointy sword version. Looks like he's got a vibrant colored core as well, and a unique head piece. What else do you say? But I understand your point about selling it for other assets. That being said, I have to say that Splinterlands somewhat overpromised on the future of the Runi during the launch, as it was supposed to be an asset that would give you some privileges such as priority buying rights and new assets, etc. I know the team has been super busy in the past few years since Runi was introduced, but at some point, I do hope we will see extra benefits from being proud Runi owners, which should also help with its value. Let's all remember that a lot of folks paid 0.19 or 3.38 ETH to mint the Runi. Yeah, that's crazy. Runi, in addition to some gas fees and maybe a bunch of vouchers, but I am not sure about the last part. I don't recall about the voucher conversation either, but you're right about the ETH. Two things that I want to talk about: the ETH that we used to pay to mint them, as compared to now, and why I don't care about that. And then what was the second piece? Oh yeah, the future development towards Runi. Okay, so let's start with the price point. It's interesting to note when you go and you say things like, we paid 0.38 ETH to mint a Runi, or whatever it was, if it was half an ETH or whatever, you know what I mean? It doesn't, even the guy who spent 10,000 Bitcoin on pizza, you know that story. There's a day that's called Bitcoin Pizza Day, and some dude it's like recorded that he spent 10,000 Bitcoin to order a large pizza or 2 large pizzas or whatever it was. And somebody on the internet, said, yeah, I'll take 10,000 Bitcoin to buy you a pizza. Like essentially it was like a fiat conversion, because somebody saw that request. Here's my offer, 10,000 Bitcoin, show up with the pizza. And he did so. And, of course, it's crazy when you look at it and you go, the Bitcoin's worth $118,000, $111,000 US dollars, whatever it is, 109 as of this very moment. It's insane. But here's the deal. In that moment, they weren't even currency. Like, I mean, frankly speaking, it was so risky. It was so unlikely that they would become this. And, so you can't hold yourself on the fire of what could have been, because it's almost like a self-blame, a self, punishment, or to kind of look backwards and say what could have been. In the moment, you have to look at it while we live in a world where we move from crypto to fiat and back, because maybe one day we won't, but right now we do. You need to understand that whatever the US dollar valuation is what you have. I don't even think about it as if I have, X number of ETH or X number of XRP or X number of Bitcoin. I just think about it as if I have this much US dollar valuation, and that can go so far with it. Like that can buy a 1 Runi or 2 or 10, or it can buy 1 plot of land or 100 or 1,000. And because of that conversion, I'm always in whatever moment I'm anchored in on a US dollar valuation perspective. And why does that matter? Because I don't want to be critical of myself in the future over what I did or didn't do. There just isn't any value in it. There are trades I made that I ultimately, wish I didn't, but there is no value in saying that to myself, because I can't go back and correct those errors. So it's just this punitive, like, self-talk. So I just set it aside, and I don't entertain that conversation, because there's no value in it, because I can't change it. And then I say, at every moment, am I making the right decision for that moment? And of course, a piece of that conversation should be, what's the right decision for this moment should also, to some extent, be the right decision for tomorrow and for the next 5 days and for the next 50 days and for the next 5 years. That decision-making process can be sort of held across time in that way. And that's why people like me buy SPS and sit on SPS, because even though it's only a penny or it's been falling, you know what I mean? We don't just look at today, we look at across time, and with an expectation towards bullishness within the future at some relatively reasonable time scale. But all that to say, you're doing your best at any one moment, and it's very easy to beat yourself up, especially in crypto, because of how volatile and how much movement we see up and down in these marketplaces. If you just made 5 specific trades at 5 specific moments, you'd be like a multimillionaire, because you could have, if you called the bottoms and you called the tops like 3 times, I bet you're a multimillionaire. But many of us haven't done that, and many of us will never do that. So let's just try to enjoy the ride of where we're at and give ourselves some credit that we're making the right decisions for us in that moment. You wanted that Runi. You've even said so in your comment. You're still happy you have that Runi. You have a hard time imagining ever selling that Runi. And that's cool. And as I said in my video, I really like my Runi. I like it a lot. I think it was special. It had a cool background. It had a really cool weapon. I like it. But I also like conclave cards. And I also like, black foils. And I also like, reward cards from the conflict airdrops, and I also like foundation success that I'm enjoying right now, and some of that value went there, and right, so there's a lot of, and I also like activating 11 new land plots. So all those things came out of that Runi sale, and then you have to then measure across time, not just what did I lose, but you also have to look at what you gained. It's conceivable that an investment or a change can translate into greater gains, even if in your example it didn't. Like you say, if somebody sold 0.38 ETH to buy a Runi, financially they lost on the ETH trade. But US dollar valuation wise, I think it's roughly the same. I think most Runis are about $400 even back then, I think. So anyways, long story short, I try not to think about it that way because you can beat yourself up. Now, one last point, and it's more interesting to probably many of you, the conversation around Runi development. Let's finish the video here. I certainly hope, and I think the team hopes, that there will be greater Runi development. I think it's clear that they think something special, like Runi is still something special. It's still the only thing of that nature in this game. I think it's obvious that they desire to honor that creation, and they're probably, I would even say, I think there definitely will be greater development toward the Runi at some point in the future. And, that could take a lot of different shapes. I would, you mentioned early access to certain buying in the game. I think an easy win would be making it playable in Modern, and it's always playable in Modern. Modern is a very important dynamic in the space of Splinterlands, and a lot of times people who invested in older cards are like excited to play in Wild, but if they had access to a Runi that made them playable in Modern, that'd be a probably an easy low-hanging fruit. It's always playable. It doesn't matter if it's 5 years old, it's still playable. And then I might think putting it on a plot of land or letting it affect your land and yet be playable in game, that's another angle. There's probably some low-hanging fruit that I think the team will reach out and provide. But it's, you mentioned it, like things have been crazy busy. I mean, Conclave Arcana has reinvented card design in this game with the black foils, the black foil arcanes, and the GFAs. How about the mage wagons and all these new amazing cards? How about the debilitations and how that's radically changed the game? There's been a lot of cool developments in this game, and player frontier mode and foundation set, and there's a whole new soulbound reward card set or reward card set that might not be soulbound even, that's coming to the game. There's so much going on, land development's pushing forward, etc., etc., etc. And I think you agree based on the tone of your comment that there's grace there. But I think also let's be proactive in bringing that conversation forward to the team. Even though I sold my Runi, I still hope they provide those updates, and I still expect that they will. And by the way, I'll probably buy another Runi at some point in the future. Hopefully crypto will treat me well, and I can buy some beautiful decked out Runi. Because even though I like my old one, I'd love to get a different one. I'm gonna leave it there, guys. Thanks so much for your time and attention. I hope you're having an amazing day. God bless.